10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you, and we're thankful that you're here with us on this Wednesday, August the 27th, 2025, coming at you live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're also streaming at cklu.ca online. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app, and you can listen to us by streaming us. You can also download that same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Not only this show, but all the other shows on CKLU all day long, 24/7 in stereo. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. And we'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. So make sure to comment. The show will be found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, facebook.com/Sudbury News, as I mentioned, and also Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator. We've got a great show planned for you today. We're going to be talking about immigration policy, how it affects our country, how it affects our city. The city is poised to make its population grow. The mayor has said his goal is 200,000 people. Well, the way to do that is immigration. We don't have any other. It's not like we're saying we're going to try to recruit professionals from around the country of any ethnicity or any country's origin, or even just in Canada. We're going to try and recruit people for our jobs. We are going to immigrate them in. We are going to rely on immigration and immigration policies, immigration programs to increase our population to 200,000 people in the city. I have sources that tell me our population is already there, but not sure why the city says our population is what it is. But it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. So welcome to the show. We're going to dive in with a little bit of weather, then we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And as usual, Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it is 4 degrees. Yes, that is correct. 4 degrees, rather chilly out there, partly cloudy. Today we can expect it to be sunny with increased cloudiness late this afternoon. Fog patches dissipating in the morning. Wind 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. High of 19 today, so it will be warm enough. UV index 6 or high tonight. Cloudy, showers beginning this evening. The amount will be 10 to 15 millimeters. Wind again gusting to 40 kilometers per hour late this evening. And the low tonight will be 10 degrees. And then tomorrow, showers ending in the morning and then cloudy with a 30% chance of showers. 15 degrees is your high tomorrow, so a little cooler, a lot cooler. And then starting to be rather moderate temperatures, 20 degrees and partly cloudy up to 22 degrees on Monday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 20 degrees, 21 degrees, 22 degrees. And then on Tuesday, 24 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. That is your Sudbury weather. That's all we got to say about that. And we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And I'll just have to switch this around a little bit. So let me get my thing in the max there. There you go. Here you go. There you are. And Bob's your uncle. So Facebook is acting a little weird again this morning. So they always have to change things. I don't know. Social media platforms got to be the things that change the most out of anything. The way it interacts, the way it looks, the way all kinds of things. And so I'm not sure if the algorithm, usually when there's changes, they change the algorithm too. And I'm noticing there's some changes there. So fewer than normal on this morning for some strange reason, but it is what it is, as I say, and that statement is always correct. Good morning, people. That's Northern Hillbilly. Judy, good morning to you. Northern Hillbilly saying, Roxham Road brought who knows how many illegals here. And that is true. It was just totally open for anybody to walk across as if they wanted to. And then we'll get into what happened when they got here and the privileges and the money that was spent on all of the people coming into our country illegally or legally. Liette, good morning to you from Collingwood. Thanks for being with us, Liette. And Belinda, good morning. When the exploited awaken, the system trembles. Get ready to rumble. Get ready to rumble. So when the exploited awaken, the system trembles. Get ready to rumble. Yeah, I guess if people do awaken, I don't know. I'm perplexed at how many people are still, I don't know if it's on purpose. They don't really want to see what's really happening, or they're just never really that curious as to what's going on. After what we went through for the last 5 years or so, that just solidified my curiosity on how people aren't curious as to their own state of affairs, their own life, their own country, their own city, and what's going on around them. I guess if they got food, shelter, clothing, and everything is rather okay and they're comfortable, there's no real reason to ask yourself what's happening in the world or in your community. But as people start losing their jobs, as the economy starts crumbling, as inflation soars sky high, as things become unbearable in terms of being able to afford to live for most people, not just the few, I think you will start seeing an awakening. I don't think people are going to wake up in any other condition unless they're affected in some way, unless their lives are directly affected. They just choose not to wake up because it's not harming them. But then all of a sudden it'll come to them and it'll be like, what? Why is this the way that it is? And you'll be like, well, it has been getting that way, and it has been that way for many people for a while now, but I guess you just realized it now. So unfortunately, that's been my experience with people. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for checking in, and thanks for the convo yesterday and explaining the cruise that you went on. It was really cool. Cool pictures, cool experience. And Vin, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emojis, much needed, much appreciated. Northern Hillbilly saying, and my eyes are even worse today than yesterday. Look at your bus stops. It reminds me of Toronto's bus stops in the mid 80s. And take a look at Toronto now. That's your country. And I know we go to Brampton quite often, and it's true. It's the change in the demographics is quite remarkable. There's only limited amounts of people that were born in Canada There's mostly immigrants that live there. Now you're getting second and possibly third generation Canadians from the immigration, mainly from India, but there's other countries as well. And I guess that was a model for the rest of Canada for now, for what we see happening. And it's all about countries' policies and immigration policies in particular. Now, we've been told the reason why currently we have such a push for mass immigration is that we don't have enough Canadian-born people to fill the jobs. And good morning to you, Holly. Thanks for being on. Halo says, no like button for me today. Yeah, exactly. So not sure what's going on with Facebook. I guess they don't want to show that we're getting that many likes. If that's the reason, or maybe it's just a glitch in their system that the like button didn't appear. I don't know. I have no answers for why Facebook is the way that it is. And good morning, Evelyn. Thanks for being on. The algorithm isn't just Facebook. YouTube is being altered in the extreme as well. Okay, I would not doubt it. Raja Jackson, related stories has taken over my feed. I remember when YT, I believe is what it says there. Was random and preferred it. Or YouTube, thanks. I should have known that. YouTube was random and I preferred it. Now it's indoctrination tool of distraction. Also, Canada's getting their way with YouTube as well, right? Because we want more Canadian content. Apparently, the government's making more policies and whatever, and forcing the tech giants to, instead of you seeing what you normally see, or the algorithms giving you what they would normally give you based on your viewing, they'll give you more Canadian stuff. Like a CBC News article will come up instead of whatever you were used to watching, right? Because it's Canadian. And it's what the government wants you to see, not what even YouTube was recommending you to see. So we are heavy liberal here. That is very true. That's Belinda. Those indoctrinated may wake up, and many worldwide are awakened. Collectively, we are strong, and that's all it takes. For sure, there is hope in people, I guess, waking up and understanding the situation that they're in and the situation we're going into. We haven't really felt the effects yet, but the groundwork has been laid for a rather bumpy future. And don't take it from me. Mark Carney has said it himself. These leaders saying you're going to have to learn to suffer. I mean, there was a report put out that Canada in the future, very near future, many Canadians could have to rely on foraging for their food. That's not me saying that. This is well documented, and our leaders, Mark Carney's wife said that he's here to make Canada poor. That's a direct quote when she was introducing him for his victory speech after he won the election. So that's not just me. Yeah, it's coming whether we're in denial or not. That's correct. And Claude, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Got the rock sign there. And Liette says it's very perplexing. Heading into the UN Agenda 2030's SOGs. So green economy that will change everything, and people just floating through like they will be immune. What part of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy do people not understand? Yeah, that's for sure. Northern Hillbillies talking about the immigration and that they don't assimilate. and they take over and turn the country they fled into the country that they ran from. More than true there. And Suzanne, good morning to you from Sudbury. Thanks for being on, Suzanne. Thanks for commenting. Evelyn says many people already are foraging for food, and you are right. It just said there's going to be a larger population than ever foraging for food was the report, what the report said here in Canada. And Jerome, good morning. Faithful truth troopers, stay the course. And now, time for some news. Local news, you name it, news. Let's just go through our local news aggregator here and see what we got. As I'm seeing it, we're reporting on it. And Belinda says, there's always hope. It's always darkest before the dawn. You're right. We have to descend before we ascend. There's always a dissension before an ascension. And that's just the way that it is. Okay, as we're going through here. And not really seeing anything standing out. That's okay, so there's going to be a billboard. I did see this morning to target human trafficking. The campaign's going to go September 1st to February 1st, 2026. That's reported from the Sudbury Star. That's important. Human trafficking is real. It's alive. It's well, unfortunately. And it's unprecedented in Canada at the moment. Unprecedented. It's crazy. We have never seen numbers like this. It's worse than a lot of third world countries. And people being kidnapped, people going missing. It's crazy. We shouldn't even have that type of a problem in Canada. A lot of people are very unaware of it. We have a Black economic program offering help setting up shop in Sudbury, Northern Ontario. Black Economic Environment Program is launching a settlement service to support Black entrepreneurs and business owners from outside Northern Ontario who want to come here. So that will just lead us right into, I guess, our main story we want to talk about today. And this was shared by Monique Dupuis. Thank you very much for that. She shared the link to me yesterday, but it wouldn't open, and then she had to just screenshot it and send it to me that way. But it's from the City of Sudbury's website. It says, we saw tremendous success through the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, which concluded in 2024, welcoming over 2,700 new residents to our community, said Greater Sudbury Mayor Paul Lefebvre. Now, we're proud to be one of the 2 communities in Canada selected to host both RCIP and FCIP programs moving forward. These new initiatives will support local businesses in filling critical skilled roles and help us continue building a stronger, more inclusive Greater Sudbury. More inclusive Greater Sudbury. And so having these immigration programs, according to Mayor Paul Lefebvre, will support local businesses in filling critical skilled roles. Now, from what I've seen, I haven't really seen that particular thing become true. I've seen a lot of entry-level jobs be filled that, our high school students ready to graduate, or our college students, our kids that would normally have those jobs are filled by. That's what I normally see. Mainly fast food. So next time you walk into a Tim Hortons, McDonald's, A&W, the list goes on, Wendy's. You let me know what workers you see there. Do you see people that are part of this program? Do you see new immigrants to Canada working, or do you see people that would have normally filled these positions like your children, And so I would like to debate Paul Lefebvre on the numbers on this. He's welcome to come on the show if he'd like. And because he's smart, he makes lots of money. He's a lawyer. He's a businessman. And he can make the case as to what the numbers are for these immigration programs filling skilled. Like, what are the numbers and how do we know that these people are skilled, filling positions that we wouldn't normally be able to have filled, right? And I'm open to that. I just don't see it. And I work in the employment industry and I don't see it myself. So I don't know where it is. So I would love to have him come on the show and explain that. But anyways, here's some numbers of what we spend on refugees, immigrants, you name it. A little report here.
Many
So we'll be
Canadians are
back after this.
increasingly aware of the insane tax burden that they are faced with and have questions around where their hard-earned tax dollars are vanishing to. Today, I'm going to show you an absolutely eye-watering sum, nearly $73 billion, funneled into grants and contributions tied to the keyword refugee in the Canadian government's own open data portal. Let's dig in. 73 billion. Can you even wrap your head around that number? That's billions with a capital B, and it's all coming straight out of your pockets. Let me break it down here. According to this data scrapped from open.canada.ca by ex-user mbrant75, there are over 21,000 records spanning from 2006 right up until 2024. Now, the spending appears to start off as relatively modest, approximately $71 million in 2006, but then it skyrockets. By 2017, it's hitting $13 billion, and 2020, a whopping $29 billion.
We will return our immigration to sustainable levels by capping the total number of temporary workers and international students at less than 5% of Canada's population by the end of 2027. It's a sharp drop from the recent high of 7.3%, and this will help ease strains on housing, on public infrastructure, and social services. At the same time, we will work to attract the best talent in the world to build our economy.
So what happened that year? Was the Canadian government planning ahead for waves of refugee claimants we couldn't handle, or just throwing money out the door no matter what? Now, before anyone accuses me of oversimplifying, let's be fair and dig a little deeper because transparency matters, even if our government seems allergic to it. These grants cover everything from local legal services for newcomers right here in Canada to support for refugees in other countries who might never even set foot on Canadian soil. And get this, a big chunk of it seems geared toward LGBTQ plus initiatives within the refugee class. Thousands of these entries, over 17,000 of them by some counts, are just from the Department of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. But not all of this is strictly refugee spending. It could be on broader immigration stuff, and the database itself warns it's not a precise ledger. There could be double or perhaps even triple counts in there due to how contracts are reported. Some of these are longer-term deals, likely anticipating influxes that have strained our systems to the breaking point.
With respect to immigration, last point, they are. We have not lived up to our promise to those we brought to this country. We don't have the capacity in terms of housing, social services.
Like, I remember the CBC just recently, about a year ago, coming on and saying there's no way you can make a connection to the immigration policies and the housing shortage in Canada. And that was our CBC, and you've heard that as well. There's no connection between the immigration, the amount of people coming into this country, and the fact that Canadians can't find a place, an affordable place to live, or even a place to live. But here's the Prime Minister just admitting that right now as if it was nothing, and no CBC coming out and, saying we were reporting wrong. There is a connection between the mass immigration and housing. Duh, who didn't know that?
and those who came as students, they're not all getting the education they deserve in Canada. We need to build that capacity. We need to manage immigration at lower levels for a period of time, until we have those results and the capacity. And of course, that means working very, very closely between the federal and provincial governments.
And let's talk about that 2020 spike again, no pun intended, because while Canadians were locked down, told not to travel, had their businesses forcibly shuttered, and families struggled, the money flowed like water. Borders closed to us, but the checks kept going out. And you may be asking, well, what's the net benefit to everyday Canadians in all of this? And I'm not sure. We've seen disruptions, protests, we have a housing crisis, and a healthcare shortage that's only gotten worse. So is any of this really helping, or is it just virtue signaling on steroids at our expense? Look, helping genuine refugees is one thing, but this level of spending, it's obviously unsustainable, and it's time to demand answers from Ottawa. Where's the accountability? How much is actually landing with those in need versus bloating bureaucracies or funding pet projects abroad? Canadians are hurting, sky-high groceries, impossible rents, and yet we're shelling out billions like it's monopoly money. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. Join us at yournewcanada.com if you...
So there you go. Now I got Peter on here wondering why we're not talking about the arena and the costs associated with that. I just like to let Peter know, if you're a regular on the show, you know, at least once a week we dedicate an entire show, which if you go back to yesterday's show, it was one of those shows where we have Bob Johnson and Tom Price on, and that's all we talk about the whole show. We don't even get any comments read during the time that they're on, because they give them the whole time for that. And so we dedicate almost one show a week for that. Today we're talking about the city's immigration. We're one of two cities that are going to have two programs that will continue to bring immigrants into the city. What do you think the cost is to the city for that? Right? So there's many costs, not just the new arena and the new library, $100 million library, $600 million arena. There's more than that going on in the city. So after the debts we get into, we're going to be the most in debt city in Canada, according to the Fraser Institute's report. In Ontario, the most in debt city in Ontario. I don't know how that compares to in debt cities in Canada. Per person in debt will be $3,333 per person in debt, up from like $1,300 or something like that. All right. So today we're talking, what do you think the cost is? Like, they're just talking about the cost federally for refugees and immigration programs and all of this stuff, right? Well, where does that money come from? That comes from you. It comes from people in Sudbury. You know, they just announced another local story. They announced $1 million for NORCAT for their AI program. Where do you think that money comes from? That comes from you. Sure. Oh, wow. The federal government's giving us money. That money comes from you. It comes from Sudburyans coming back into Sudbury. You know, if you took the amount of money coming out of our pockets, going to the federal government, then we have to ask ourselves, how does it come back to us? Like, how are they giving it back? Just keep it in my pocket to begin with. Thank you very much. And don't take it all and then spend it on, you know, these frivolous, dumb things. You know, many people say, well, they're not frivolous and dumb. They're much needed. The government knows everything. There are people like that. I'm not kidding you. I know some. So, and they love you too, apparently. That's the weirdest one. The government actually cares for you. How that's possible? That's scientifically impossible, but some people believe it's true. Okay, so here you go. More on immigration, and in case you haven't had enough already, here it is. Here's the blender, guys.
It exposes yet another Liberal failure and a direct lie from Prime Minister Mark Carney. The Trudeau-Carney Liberals told Canadians they would cap immigration and restore balance to the system, but the numbers prove the opposite. Canada's immigration intake is still completely out of control. According to the latest Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC data, the government has already blown past multiple 2025 immigration targets in just the first half of the year. The temporary foreign workers target was 82,000. The Liberals have already issued 105,195 permits. The International Mobility Program cap was 285,750. The Liberals have already admitted 302,280, with half the year still to go. The permanent residence target is 395,000. Canada admitted 207,650 in the first 6 months, putting the country on track for 415,300, one of the highest levels in our nation's history. This is on top of ballooning asylum.
One of our highest levels in our nation's history. This is after Mark Carney said he's going to cut back. He's going to cut back the amount of immigration coming in. So there's the lie, right? There's the lie right there. Everyone believes it. If you were to go on the street right now and you'd say, how do you think immigration, what's the federal government doing with immigration right now? Say, oh, they're cutting back. I know they were going all out for a while, but they're cutting back now, right? Just ask your friends. Ask your friends what they think about the immigration. And here's the numbers. We're on track to have the most ever, even though the federal government says they are cutting back.
Claims, which have grown from 9,999 in 2015 to 291,975 in the queue in 2025, a 2,800% increase. And there is an unknown number of illegal immigrants, which according to the government's own data, could be as high as 500,000 and growing daily.
500,000. Just let that number sink in again. Illegal immigrants in Canada.
Carney told Canadians immigration would be capped and made sustainable. His throne speech in May promised to restore balance and rebuild trust. Yet within months, the numbers prove the Liberals have lost control of the border and are completely deceiving Canadians. On top of that, the government tried to delay and censor the release of this data, publishing the second quarter numbers weeks late and only after conservative pressure. Michelle Rempel-Garner rightly accused them of purposefully censoring the real figures while preparing heavily edited versions. Their excuse? The IRCC said they were changing how data is shared to make it more accessible. In other words, a rather transparent attempt to spin and delay the release of damaging statistics. This is not the balance or transparency we were promised. It's a cover-up of record-breaking immigration that is overwhelming Canada's housing, healthcare, and job markets, while our economy continues to spiral out of control. The Liberals' so-called Canada First cap is BS. This is a disaster created by an open borders policy that broke Canada's immigration system, and Carney is lying to Canadians about fixing it.
So, what do you think? So, obviously, even Mark Carney sounded like he agreed with the idea that the immigration policies that we had were hurting Canada, the housing and the promises. So this is a two-sided coin here. We're promising people who come to this country that this is the land of, this is a utopian land of anything you need, anything you want. You come here and you'll get an education, you'll get a house, you'll get a job, everything's going to be great. So they're promised this too. So this is not the people coming here's fault at all. It's the opposite. I feel for the people. And even Mark Carney said it himself that we've promised, education needs to be better. There's no housing. Even for the people coming here, we're promised this utopian life here in Canada. It's not utopia. You have to still work to get a job. So I know personally, I'm in the employment business and I work with clients who have just recently graduated and they're looking for jobs and they're not originally from this country. Some as interesting as just, okay, I need a job. They'll call me and say, okay, can you get me a job? I'm ready for my job now, basically. So give me my job. So there's been people like that. And we know there's people like that, even who are born in Canada or whatever. But no, that's what they were thinking was going to happen. They're going to go to school, they're going to get a job, and they're just going to live the utopian life that they were promised. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, we can help you find a job. What do you mean? You're not just going to give me a job? Well, no, that's not what we do. We can help you and consult you and help assist the process of you finding a job. help you with your resume, making sure it looks as good as it possibly can, finding employers possibly who are looking for people with your skill set and with your... So there's not skilled workers coming to the country. I've met very few skilled people that are ready to work in Canada. So there's a couple problems with this idea of skilled workers filling positions. Sure, they'll bring people who are skilled in their own countries, but they don't match our policies, regulations, labor market standards. So they're not even allowed to work in the field that they're educated in the first place in their country. So there's many holes in the government's immigration policies. And it just seems like there was just an open door, just open the door, unlock the gates, and let as many people come through as possible. And then just spinning all kinds of things in word salads to get us through the process of just inviting as many people into the country as possible and using our state-funded media to indoctrinate people as to, I'll sit down with people now like, oh yeah, no, we need mass immigration because there's so many jobs that just need to be filled. I'm like, well, show me these jobs. What I see are government incentives for employers that say, hey, if you can't find a Canadian worker, someone who's born in Canada for, I don't know what it is, maybe a month, I forget the time, but it's a period of time. And you got to put this job posting out there. And if you can prove that you did not have any candidates that were qualified to apply for this job, then you can get this government funding and hire an immigrant, a foreign worker. And we'll pay a subsidy to you. So you don't have to pay the entire wage. Well, what do you think this gives temptations for businesses to do? Like, give me a break. You mean I can get a workforce and half the money's paid? So cut my labor costs in half, and all I got to do is put a job ad out there and not hire somebody for whatever, couple months, and then I can apply for this grant, this subsidy, and hire a foreign worker? Yeah, that's what you can do. So I have countless people coming to me saying, I see this job posting. I walk in with my resume and they say, sorry, that's not a real job posting, or the job's been filled, or we're not hiring right now, or just take your resume. We'll call you. And the job stays there. And then people keep applying for it. I applied twice. The job was still there and I applied again and they didn't hire me. Well, next thing you know, a foreign worker is in there getting paid half the wages because all they had to say is we had this job ad out there for so long and it wasn't filled. Well, they're not tracking how many people are applying. It's not like there's a government website set up there, a job website, because they don't care. It's not about that. It's about bringing as many people in the country as possible for some reason. The reason being, I have no idea, but they're definitely not trying to have their own checks and balances on their own policies. They don't really care if someone's telling the truth or not, a business owner, whether they actually weren't able to hire somebody. Like you can tell just from they're not regulating it. They're not really looking into making sure these companies aren't really able to find Canadian workers. They just have to say, no, I couldn't fill it. Couldn't fill the job. Okay, here's money and here's subsidies and half your labor costs are down now. Okay, thank you very much. Paid by you, your money. People from Sudbury's money. Your money coming out of your pockets, helping businesses cut their labor costs in half by bringing in temporary foreign workers. That is what it is. Like it or not, like it, leave it, love it, loathe it. It's what's going on in our society right now. So that's all the time we got, unfortunately. So we're going to have to leave it there. It's all I got to say about that. Thanks for being on, everyone, and thanks for commenting. We really appreciate you. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and be part of it. And commenting and sending me materials for the show. Keep doing that. We really appreciate it. It helps to keep us in the know of what you are interested in and what you want to talk about, what you want to make sense of, what you want to have conversations about. This is your conversation on your station, CKLU, each and every weekday morning. Stay tuned now for Your Shot Daily on CKLU. And remember, CKLU's fundraising summer blowout fundraising event at the townhouse. Doors open at 8. $20 to enter, and you got some really great entertainment. That's this Saturday. I just want to remind everyone of that. And we'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms tomorrow, God willing. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and we'll see you then. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.